pass it along to you.
Great. Thank you, Spencer, and good afternoon, everyone. I appreciate you giving your time today to talk about the Entrepreneurship Network. So we're really excited about launching this on DRA's Entrepreneurship Network, which aims to identify and talent within the 8 states that the DRA, in which the DRA serves, especially identifying and nurturing entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship support organizations. The first step of this is what we're calling the Entrepreneurship Network Fellowship. And this fellowship is in partnership with the Idea Village in New Orleans. And it's a competitive fellowship that will identify up to 16 entrepreneurs and 16 entrepreneurial support organizations to attend New Orleans Entrepreneur Week, which is held at the end of March. And the hope with this is that these entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship support organizations can head down to New Orleans and gain exposure. They'll have specific access to DRA and Idea Village workshops and seminars specific to the Delta region. And we hope that this will help us grow the entrepreneurial ecosystem so that those best practices that are in New Orleans can be taken north, and that entrepreneurs can connect with, in Alabama, can connect with entrepreneurs in Kentucky, and the support organizations will have resources for entrepreneurs in the local communities as well. So what I have pulled up here is our website. This is dra.gov/entrepreneur, and this is the Entrepreneurship Network homepage. So it just gives a brief overview about what the network is and what we want it to do, and again talks about that we want to identify 16 entrepreneurs and 16 entrepreneurship organizations from around the region. So for today's webinar, we'll start with the entrepreneur track. So we'll click on Are You an Entrepreneur? And sorry. There we go. And we'll talk about the Delta Challenge. So we're having 5 regional challenges to identify these 16 entrepreneurs. And these challenges will be held in Missouri, Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, and Alabama. And we'll get to the timeline a little bit later. This is a competitive pitch competition. It's a 3-minute pitch with a 1-minute Q&A. So let's go down the application guidelines and basic eligibility requirements. For entrepreneurs, we ask that you are organized as a for-profit business and that you live or work within the 252 counties or parishes of the DRA service area. If you're unfamiliar or not sure what areas we service, you can find that information out on our website at dra.gov. You must generate less than $1 million in annual revenue and have less than 5 full-time employees. So if you meet those basic eligibility requirements, we ask that you fill out a business service summary outlining your company. And this application, if you click on via the online form, will take you to the screen where you can fill out the application and submit online. So, and these are some of the topics that we ask. Each topic has a 300-word limit, so make sure that in your answers you're as concise as possible. We want to hear about your company information, your products and services, your market analysis, your risk, financial statements, and sustainability. So be specific, make sure that you're answering these questions within your application. Continuing on, you can see the dates and locations for our Delta Challenges. We're kicking it off in Cape Girardeau, Missouri on February 24th and wrapping up in Linden, Alabama on March 2nd. From each Delta Challenge, there will be 3 entrepreneurs identified and 1 alternate. And upon the completion of all the challenges, the alternate with the highest score will be selected. Like I said, we could take up to 16, so that alternate will take the 16th spot. In order to participate in the Delta Challenge, you must sign up at least 24 hours before the pitch you would like to attend. So if you want to attend our first pitch competition on February 24th. You need to sign up before February 23rd. And entrepreneurs can attend as many pitch competitions as they would like. So if they go to CAPE and don't qualify, they can continue on and work on their pitch a little bit more and then go to our Ruston event in the hopes of snagging one of those spots. So moving down to the application scoring process, we'll have a panel of professional experts that will judge each Delta challenge, and we'll have a judge's rubric that will look at the following criteria, which is the pitch presentation. So was it clear, was it organized, and was it convincing? The business model, what need are you addressing, what solutions are being offered, and what is your revenue stream? The organizational structure, so what's the organizational structure of your company, what experiences does your team have in your respective fields? The financial objectives, what are the plans for financial sustainability, what are the financial metrics to use to determine growth, and what are the financial objectives upon receiving investment? I should go back and mention that in addition to the workshops and seminars and access to mentors during New Orleans Entrepreneur Week, our entrepreneurs will have the opportunity to showcase their ideas to a panel of investors. So it's incredibly important that our entrepreneurs know what they would do with investment in case that does happen. Going back to the application scoring process, the market, so who are your target customers, what's the size of your market, where is your market, and what are the challenges that are facing your industry or field. Risk, what are the internal, external challenges of the company, what are the market risks, and what strategies are in place to mitigate that market risk. Competitive advantage, what's your competitive advantage, what makes you worth investing in, what makes you different from your competition. And then the scalability, what's the scalability of your venture, what's your marketing and your production and financial strategies moving forward, what are your next steps. So that application is, the rubric is based on a 1 to 5, 1 being undeveloped, 2 being fair, 3 being good, 4 being very good, and 5 being investable. The panel of judges will first evaluate the business summary. So like I said, it's incredibly important that you're specific, and we'll use the rubric, and then we'll use the same rubric to judge the pitch presentation. So there's a total of 75 points for each entrepreneur. Going on, you can see the fellowship calendar. So our Delta challenges, and then the alternate is announced March 4th. Orientation is mandatory, and that will be in Memphis, Tennessee, March 6th and 7th. And we're very excited because we're bringing in someone to host a pitch boot camp for our entrepreneurs before they head down to New Orleans. So maybe your pitch can use a little bit of fluff before that March date, and we're going to be able to work with you to help you get there. And then for entrepreneurs, New Orleans Entrepreneur Week is March 25th through 27th. And those dates are a little bit different for the support organization, so entrepreneurs, make sure that you write that down, March 25th through 27th. This fellowship does cover travel and lodging for both the orientation in Memphis and New Orleans Entrepreneur Week, and that's for the entrepreneurs as well as the entrepreneur support organizations. So moving on, we're going to talk about the network for support organizations. And this process is a little bit different, and there's a little bit of different eligibility requirements. So the basic are that it can be individuals or nonprofits that live or work within the 252 counties or parishes that DRA serves. And you have provided support services and or education, which can be technical training, mentorship, coding classes, anything like that for more than 18 months prior to application. And you have to meet a minimum of Tier 3 qualifications. And we'll get to the tiers in just a moment. You must have an interest in expanding and strengthening the entrepreneurial ecosystem within the DRA region, and you cannot be a private business or a paid consultant. So for those individuals, the services that you provide should not be a consulting. You should be a consultant. It should be a pro bono service that you provide to entrepreneurs to be eligible for the ESO. So the applications are open, and you can click on the attached application, which I will pull up for you. And this PDF is a fillable form, so you can type your answers in, click and save, and then send it to deltachallenge@dra.gov. And these applications are due by midnight on Sunday, February 15th. And we can go through that application really quickly. I'm sorry to jump back and forth. So basic company information, and then please give a brief overview of your organization, your organizational structure, what current and or educational services does your provide to entrepreneurs, what is the capacity of your organization to implement programs, what is your current level of funding, how have your initiatives strengthened or grown the entrepreneurial ecosystem in your community? What is your vision for future support and or educational services, technical to education, mentoring opportunities, etc.? What capacity would your organization need to implement future programs? How would this network of entrepreneurs and support organizations benefit your organization? And then how do you plan to implement the knowledge gained from New Orleans Entrepreneur Week? So those are the questions in the ESO application, and like I said, that's a fillable form, and you'll email that to deltachallenge@dra.gov. And those are due by February 15th at midnight. The successful ESOs will be notified on March 4th. Before that, a panel of judges will review February 16th through the 20th. All ESO organizations that are Tier 3 or above will be eligible for an interview, and those interviews will be scheduled via video conference or conference call on February 25th. And like I said, we'll be getting down to the application scoring process. So the applications will be sorted into tiers based on the following criteria: services provided, expansion of services, and knowledge of the ecosystem. Those ESOs that are above tier 3 or above will be considered for the fellowship. So the evaluation piece primarily comes with the interview that happens on February 25th. And the interviews will address the following subjects: the business model, the organizational structure, the market, the risk, the scalability, and the implementation. Please note that the point value is doubled for the implementation category, so it's incredibly important that you know how you're going to take away this information and what you're going to do with it in your local communities after New Orleans Entrepreneur Week. Entrepreneurship support organizations are required to attend the March orientation in Memphis, and this fellowship, as does the other for the entrepreneurs, provides funding for travel and lodging. So for the ESOs, here's the fellowship calendar. The application is open, closes February 15th, panel will review, interviews are February 25th, March 4th, up to 16 recipients will be announced. March 6th and 7th is orientation in Memphis, and then March 24th through 27th is New Orleans Entrepreneur Week. Please note that that's a day earlier than the entrepreneurs. There's a conversation that Wednesday morning that we would like you to be a part of. So please make sure that you mark that on your calendars. So that's a brief overview of the network and the application process. I will now start taking questions about the process.
Okay, thank you, Katie. As I stated earlier, if you have a question to pose to Katie, please type it into the question box, and we will address them as they come in. The first question that we have is from John Brandon, and it is, can a support organization be a state government agency that offers services to entrepreneurs at no cost?
That's a good question. if entrepreneurs can receive services at no cost and you are not a private business or paid consultant, then and can be considered as an entrepreneurship support organization. Then you can be. I'm sorry, I think I cut out a little bit.
That is a yes. Good deal. Um, the the next question is from Alan Terrell. Can you explain just a little about the tiers for the entrepreneurship support organizations, please?
Sure, yes, thank you. Um, So the tiers are really a guide for us, and we want to know the entrepreneurship organization landscape in the Delta region, and this will help us get a little bit of an idea of where organizations are at. As I said earlier, we're looking at services provided, expansion of services, and as well as the knowledge of the ecosystem. So they'll be divided into tiers, but the primary evaluation piece will be on their interview, and the highest evaluation scores will be chosen as fellows regardless of tier. Is there a follow-up question to that?
Not at this time. Do we have other questions coming in? I mean, Alan, if you would like further explanation, please feel free to type that into the question box and we'll provide further explanation. We seem to have a quiet group, or Katie, you just did a really great job of explaining. We'll give a couple more minutes for people to pose more questions. Um, in the meantime, I'd like to emphasize that I've noticed that a lot of you on the call today work directly with entrepreneurs, so we have a good amount of entrepreneurship support organizations. I would strongly encourage you and ask for your help in disseminating the information about the entrepreneurship network and getting word out there to your burgeoning entrepreneurs who might be able to benefit from this opportunity. We have a great network of support organizations and some entrepreneurs, but there are many entrepreneurs in our rural communities that we have trouble reaching. So please feel free, share on social media, share our Facebook posts and Twitter posts. Also, we will be having marketing materials coming out in the next week. Please feel free to forward on to whomever you know might be able to benefit from this opportunity. While I was speaking, we had a few more questions come in. Is there some expectation of service providers working with the entrepreneurs, or are these two separate things happening at the same time?
Both will be attending New Orleans Entrepreneur Week. The two tracks are separate. So the ESO application process is different than the entrepreneur application process. That being said, we are trying to build a network. We want to make sure that we're connecting entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship support organizations together. And some ESOs and some entrepreneurs may not know what resources are out there. And so, yes, they will be working together and participating in what seminars and programming at New Orleans Entrepreneur Week together.
Okay, great. Thank you, Katie. And what about inventor ideas that need help with patenting? Will we be working with those at all?
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
Robert asked about inventor ideas that need help with patenting. Do those qualify under this program?
The idea would have to be significantly developed and fit within the eligibility requirements. We aren't offering specific services to help you get a patent, and we can't guarantee that that would be a part of New Orleans Entrepreneur Week. But the hope is that if you're connecting with these entrepreneurship support organizations, they can lead you to resources that might help you get to that next step.
Okay, thank you. And Robert, if you have a follow-up question, or any of y'all have follow-up questions from what Katie's answer has been, please feel free to add that in. From Kathy Ann Watkins, question, can more than one person from a support organization participate in the interview?
We can only send one representative from each entrepreneurship support organization, but if you feel that to adequately articulate what your support organization is doing, you can have more than one individual in the interview.
And next from Ivan Banks, how will we as support organizations intelligently answer about what we will do with the info from New Orleans, the New Orleans experience, without knowing what actually is covered during that week? And do you have further information on what would be covered during that week?
I do. So New Orleans Entrepreneur Week will, the official agenda will be announced February 20th, so you can see what specific seminars are going to be held. But we really want to know, how are you going to maximize this experience? How are you going to maximize the relationships that you build with other support organizations and with entrepreneurs? And what is it going to drive you to do in the future in your local communities? So really, why do you want to go? Why is it important that we choose you over someone else?
Okay, thanks, Katie. And uh, from Crystal Jones, did I hear you say that the Entrepreneur Fellows will also pitch to a panel of potential investors in New Orleans?
The entrepreneurs will be showcasing their ideas to a panel of investors during New Orleans Entrepreneur Week. That is correct.
Okay, great. Thank you. Those are all the questions we've received so far. Let's give a minute or so left for any other questions. Any other questions? And by a minute, I mean 10 or so seconds. If we don't have any other questions, I know that Chairman Massengale has been able to join us, the federal co-chairman for the Delta Regional Authority, Chris Massengale, will provide some closing statements about the Entrepreneurship Network and kind of his vision for kicking this off as a Delta Regional Authority program. Before Chairman Massengale gets started, I'd just like to remind everyone the website dra.gov/entrepreneur has really, we think, all the information um, that there is about our new program, the Entrepreneurship Network. We will also be posting the recording of this webinar on our YouTube channel and make it available through a link on the website. And then we will be providing further information, updates through social media, and then on our website as well. Again, if you know other entrepreneurs who are interested in this or don't know about the Entrepreneurship Network yet and might be interested in this opportunity, please feel free to forward them the link dra.gov/entrepreneur or share any information. We have the press release available on our website as well as other materials. So without further ado, Chairman Massengale, if you'll close us out.
Thank you very much, Spencer, and thank you, Katie. Thank you all for taking time to be a part of the webinar and your interest in the Delta Entrepreneurship Network. This is an important priority of the Delta Regional Authority. It's one that we've been working on for a while to provide resources to help augment what's going on in our communities in the Delta region that is developing the entrepreneur experience. It's creating businesses, it's creating ideas. We want to do more of that. We want to continue to identify great ideas, help develop those, connect those to the right resources, the right support organizations, and we want to support the organizations that support entrepreneurs. We know when we do the analysis of the region, we do have some great small business development and entrepreneurship activities going on around the region. We want to highlight this, and the partnership that we have with Idea Village and New Orleans Entrepreneur Week is a great platform to do that. And this is going to give us an opportunity to create this network, which is really just an information sharing, an opportunity for us to come together collectively as individuals that support entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs themselves. We know that we've got the kind of talent, the kind of enthusiasm, the kind of knowledge, the kind of excitement in the region to meet any challenge that we face. And one of the ways that I think that we continue to grow the region economically is by putting more of a focus and an emphasis on that entrepreneurship development and creating a stronger ecosystem. This is not taking the place of traditional economic development. This is adding to it. This is creating another tool in the tool chest to create our own, to create local businesses, to really harness and to support these ideas that are being developed around the region in our communities. We want the best and the brightest to stay in the region. We want companies to be started and to scale. We want new jobs being created, not just shifting of jobs from around the country to the region. We want new jobs being created to grow the economic opportunities, and we feel like this opportunity marries up with our vision at the Delta Regional Authority. And that's something that we get up every day thinking about. How can we help create jobs, improve lives, and build communities? That's what we're about. That's what I believe this program helps support, and I appreciate every one of you on this call today willing to take a risk, to take a chance, and to be entrepreneurs. Going through this exercise in and of itself is an entrepreneurship spirit that we want to continue to develop and to continue to support. So beyond this, if you've got ideas or suggestions for us, if you've got something going on in your local area that we can help be a partner in creating that ecosystem to support entrepreneurship and small business development, we want to be a partner. So Spencer, thank you, and Katie for doing such a great job. Thank you all for taking time to be on the webinar, and I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you, Chairman Massengale. And just one last plug, any questions that you may have beyond this webinar, please feel free to direct them to our email address for the program, deltachallenge@dra.gov. Again, that's deltachallenge@dra.gov. You can find that on the website, which is dra.gov.